Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. In this video, I'm going to keep things super simple. I just want to sit back and enjoy this Supreme Jing 2020 First Pluck. I thought that this tea had gone missing in action. We ordered it over a month ago and it's been sitting somewhere in a Shanghai airport. We assumed that it had been lost. We'd given up all hopes, and today I received a phone call saying a small parcel has arrived at the warehouse. We don't know what it is. I raced over there in the hope that somehow this tea found its way to us. The tea gods have been shining on us today. Finally, this First Pluck tea is in my hands, and I just want to sit down with you and enjoy my first session with this tea. Hopefully it's as good as I remember, because when we tasted this sample, I was absolutely floored by it. I thought it was one of the best Longjings I've ever tasted. Let's go through the scope. Season. As I said, this is very, very early spring picked. This is First Pluck, 3rd of March 2020. Cultivar, this is from the small leaf variety, TEAWARE fooding variety. The origin, this is from Wuyi in Zhejiang in China. It's not the same Wuyi as Wuyi Mountains in Fujian. Picking and processing, this is very fine picking. This is a bud and one leaf. This is hand-fired tea, and the elevation is around 770 meters, which is pretty high for a Longjing tea. So let's get into it. This is First Pluck. We released a First Pluck Anji, which we call Supreme Anji or Supreme Jade Sword. I've done a video all about First Pluck versus First Flush in a video I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll put a link in the description below. And I've also done an extensive tea travel video all about Dragonwell or Longjing tea. So if you want to find out all about this amazing, very famous green tea from China, then go check out that video. I'll put a link in the description below. But as I said, all I want to do right now is dive straight in. So I've just come back from the warehouse with my baggie of tea. I made sure that I grabbed my stash. I got 200 grams of this stuff sitting for me, for my personal use, and the rest is available. I know that some people have already ordered this on pre-order, and you've been waiting very patiently whilst we prayed and hoped that it would come back to us. I honestly thought this tea, I'd given up on this tea, let's put it that way. Let's take a look at these leaves. Very, very lovely, very fine picking, sort of lime greens and yellows. They've also got a noticeable furry, very sort of thin, furry texture. And as soon as I put my hand into that bag of Longjing to smell it, I could see all this fluff coming off it. So it's very early spring picked tea. If you see little balls of fluff in there, that's not mold. That is fluff on the leaf because it's early spring pickings. So it's sort of the fluff that is on the bud and those leaves. All right, let's have a smell. And hope that it wasn't affected by sitting in the airport, which I doubt it. It's been sealed very, very well. Ooh, popcorn. Candied caramel popcorn. So sweet. And this is what I remember. I just remember thinking, how is this so sweet? Yeah, just popcorn, a little bit of toasted beans. Very, very sweet. I'm also getting a little bit of a greenness as well, like a March 2 snow pea greenness, but very sweet nougats and caramelized popcorn. A little bit of that classic roasted bean flavor, but not as much as the Chunti-Zhong variety, which we stocked in 2019, and we still have stock of that. So if you're looking for that really ultra roasted bean, the very traditional Longjing flavor, then have a try of that one. This is now a little bit more into the, a little bit fresher, but it's still very, very rich and very, very toasty and so sweet. And this is the thing that I've noticed about First Pluck teas. It was the same with the First Pluck Jade Sword that we have. The sweetness level is just, on aroma and taste, is just next level. We're going to give this a quick rinse, but I am going to drink the rinse of this one. May give a little bit to the pig. Yes, I'll give a little bit. He's sitting, waiting patiently. And then we'll have a smell of those wet leaves. Going to take it slow. It's not very often that you get to taste the first pluck long Jing for the first time in the year. So this is a special moment. Oh, the rinse is so fragrant already. Super fragrant. Okay, it's light on flavor because of the fact that we've just done a very, very quick rinse, but very, very sweet. And the flavor is there. I'm getting nuttiness, I'm getting a little bit of zestiness there, but the sweetness, have a little nibble on one leaf. The sweetness is like a starchy, fresh borlotti beans, sort of chestnuts, but that starchy sweetness. Really, really lovely. This little leaf goes back in. So, First Pluck is something that I don't normally buy, and certainly I would not be buying Long Jing First Pluck from Shihu, from Westlake. Let me smell this and I'll talk about the reasons for that afterwards. Oh yeah, now I'm getting that borlotti beans, very fresh, like fresh beans. I'm getting a little bit of a wafer, like a biscuity note, but lots and lots of sugar. Just starchy bean, but also rock sugar. It's almost like you've cooked borlotti beans in a syrup, in a sugary, like a rock sugar syrup. There is a greenness there, but it's also a little bit toasted. So I'm getting like grilled beans or grilled asparagus, not toasted to the point and being scorched, but just warmer, a little bit a little bit toasted. So as I was saying, I would not normally buy First Pluck, simply because the price point on First Pluck is obviously, it's the most supreme picking of the season. And so therefore it commands just a high price simply on the basis of its picking time. And Shihu Long Jing, so Westlake Long Jing, is obviously very, very expensive. Even first flush, you know, mid-spring, even sort of any pre-Qingming, Long Jing is very, very expensive. And in my opinion, and I'll probably next year be getting a Shihu or a Westlake, knowing me, but in my opinion, from the Shihu Long Jings that I have tasted, they are excellent, incredible, but does the price point live up to the taste, or does the taste live up to the price point, I should say, especially when you compare it with teas from other areas in Zhejiang? I personally don't think so, which is why we tend not to purchase Long Jing from Westlake, and I certainly wouldn't be purchasing a First Flush because the price point would be eye-watering. We were in Westlake last year. You can see the video where we tasted lots of Westlake teas. Again, incredible. We got to make tea with masters in Westlake, so I have nothing but respect for the tradition and the craftsmanship in that area. I just think that the price point is too high, considering that you've got all these amazing, delicious teas being made in other areas of Zhejiang province that are much, much more affordable. Here we go. Already from the rinse, I am in love with this tea. Yeah, like a wafer, like biscuity, not biscuit, because that's like not shortbready, like wafer. So a simple sort of toasty cereal-like sweetness. Okay. I'm going to make sure I leave this uncovered. I want to keep those delicate leaves nice. Don't want to stew them. Take a look at color. Here we go. Let's see, what color is that? Very, very clear. What I mean by that is very bright. I shouldn't say clear, because if you look in it, you can see that there is a fair amount of activity just suspended in that liquor. It's like all the fluff and the tea fur that has come off in the brew is just suspended, just staying still. Amazing. But very, very bright. Color is a sort of luminous green, yellow, citrine color, almost a bit more yellow than that, maybe a little bit more like a sort of star fruit color. I'll tell you what, I will get the torch out here and you can see, hopefully, the activity that's going on in this liquor. Very, very static. You know, the fur is just staying still in there. Really, really dense with that early spring pick fluff. Right, here we go. Texture first. Ooh, little leaf falls in. That's a little present for me later. Cheers, everybody. First Pluck 2020 Long Jing from Wei in Zhejiang, and it's the TEAWARE small leaf fooding variety. Texture medium, which is pretty good for a green tea. Medium, soft, slight, delicate quench. Immediately, a lot of vapor happening, and the vapor has a sort of warming like cooked, like steamed peas, borlotti beans, starchiness. It's also got that cereal wafer note or puffed rice happening. So you're getting all of those warm, starchy notes. And the vapor turns incredibly lemony, but not sour lemon juice, just the fragrance of lemon zest. Amazing lemoniness coming up my nose. And I'm trying to avoid it for a moment because it's so intense, but that sweetness is just incredible. But let's just focus on the aroma. So yeah, a bit of this sort of lemon zests and like fresh green beans, like fresh runner beans, like almost like you've taken beans and you've steamed them and then you've grated over some lemon zest. Imagine that, those sort of fragrances, very fresh, bright, but still got like a starchy sweetness to it. And definitely the first flavor that hits your mouth is sort of peas and beans and green not green chestnuts, sweet chestnuts, and this cereal, puffed rice, yeah, honeyed wafers, moving to lemony, sugary, sugar, like rock sugar and lemon sweetness. Wow. Doesn't disappoint, and it's that shift from nutty, beany, warm to sweet and zesty. Again, not sour, but zesty, that sweet lemony zest that I fell in love with when I first tasted this tea. It felt like it just encapsulated the whole balance of what you look for in a Long Jing tea, or at least what I look for in a Long Jing tea. Oftentimes you could have a spectrum where it might be too roasted bean, although I've really started to develop a love for that because I know that the transformation to sweetness is extreme. And on the other hand, which I've moved more and more away from as I've sourced Long Jing tea, that sort of very green zucchini, courgette, dewy, grassy, not cut grass, but sort of that meadowy aroma, which is really lovely, but that's not what I crave in a Long Jing. What I crave is more of that body, that warmth, that beaniness, that starchiness, but then lovely how it moves into this fresh steamed beans and lemon zests. And the taste in my mouth, if you try this tea, you will be just in love with the sweetness. You will definitely not want to eat anything for a couple of hours or at least an hour after drinking this tea. Allow that sweetness to persist. It's so lingering and long. It's incredible. Taste a leaf. Oh yeah. Oh, might eat them. I might eat them afterwards, put them in a salad. It really tastes like green peas and beans. green beans and then moving into just incredible sweetness. And as I said, that's the thing that I'm noticing with these first plucks. I mean, all good teas, green teas, have a sweet quality to them, but what I've noticed is that with these first pluck teas, they're just from straight out of the gate, the first, even the rinse, just intense, extreme sweetness. And what that means is that you can continue to infuse and infuse and infuse because it's got so much of that sweetness to give. And eventually what happens with those long 2-minute, 5-minute brews, when you've sort of hit sort of 6, 7 infusions or maybe even more infusions, just throw some 80, 90 degree water on it and just leave it. And you are guaranteed, it's like a little treat waiting for you. You're guaranteed to come back to and go, oh, little guy one full of tea, pour it out. Amazing how this lasts. The sweetness will just continue to persist. That's what I've noticed. You just get so much life out of these teas. Oh, let's take a look at those leaves. Lemony sweet. The pickings, super fine. You can see mostly bud and 1 leaf. Occasionally a bud and 2 leaves, but mostly bud and 1 leaf. Beautiful, vibrant, pea green color. Very tender, very soft. Texture in my mouth. Light quench. Very light quench on the top of my tongue. And again, sorry to be repetitive, but very, very sweet. Like I've eaten some sugar and had some sort of starchy sweet chestnuts or peas. Very, very, very sweet and lingering. Let's have a sniff of this empty Guangdao Bay. I know this is going to be a winner, just from the taste. If it's sweet like this in my mouth now, after 2 infusions, let's see. Oh, cotton candy. But it's also got a fragrant, and the zestiness has been warmed. So it's no longer like a lemon zest. It's more like a sweet apples, or it's also got a creamy custardy nature. So maybe custard apples. Maybe I'm just throwing apples and custard in my head. What do custard apples smell like? I think that's probably, it's got a slightly more straight ahead sweetness, less of a green apple sweetness, but with a creaminess that underpins it. And so sweet, like it's cotton candy straight out of the fairground. Wow. Look at it, and you can see all this fur just floating on the top. Please don't think that this is sort of not what you want. You want to see these little speckles of fur and fluff which is coming from these tea leaves. I would not brew this I would not pour this through a strainer. I would just go straight. You want all of that texture. No words. Honestly, it's like everything that I want from a long Jing is encapsulated in this tea. I'm so happy that it finally arrived. I really thought I had lost it, and I had a tiny bit left over, not even enough for a 70ml Guy 1, but I needed to save some just for my sample to compare it. I don't have to do that sample comparison because I know that this is exactly how I remembered it, exactly the same sort of thrill that I'm getting from tasting it. Body sensation already, I'm getting a rising warmth, very, very nice rising warmth. I'm feeling a slight flushing happening. I'm feeling a cooling sensation as I just start to have the gentlest little mist of perspiration, warming, uplifting, clear-headed, bright, supreme, incredible long Jing. I really wasn't planning to do a video on this because of the fact that we've done so many videos about long Jing before, but since it arrived and it surprised me, I thought, you know what, turn on the cameras, let's experience this together. Very, very happy, super thrilled. Thanks to the tea gods for somehow uncovering this package and somehow miraculously dropping it to our warehouse today. I've been tracking it for the past 3 weeks, and it's always said leaving China on its way to the UK, and it's just been stuck in that. And I've been contacting the UK post offices, and they say it never has arrived. It has never been scanned into an airport in the UK. So I can only assume that this tea has been sitting in a Shanghai airport with all of the COVID upheaval. It's been sitting because of less flights going out. It's been sitting, waiting patiently, but it is finally here. For everyone who pre-ordered, thank you so much for your patience. It's already winging its way over to you. It's a small batch, of course. If you want to get your hands on it, then go check out the website. It's available now. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the supreme stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye. Spectacular. Spectacular.